Hi there. Today on Typical Books, we're going to be talking about all the books that caught my eye coming out in June 2025. Now, there's not a lot of them, though. For whatever reason, June's really quiet. Is it because it's summertime and it's convention season and everyone's getting geared up for the Bram Stoker Awards happening on Friday the 13th, Saturday as well? And, that could be part of it. Are we all on vacation? Are we reading the books instead of having them ready for release? The general time frame for a book is anywhere between 2 months from the finishing of writing it to 2 years plus. So, books should be coming out regularly all the time, right? But there's a big lull in the summertime most of the time. It's really weird to me. So without further ado, on June 3rd, we have I Can Fix Her by Ray Wilde. The cover has these speeding lights kind of time lapse effect with lots of blues and purples and this very slim, barely there, sans serif white font. It's cool. It's kind of going for this LA cool kind of vibe, and it's not quite getting there for me because I'm not sure what this book is about from the cover, but it's neat looking, that's for sure. It's very eye-catching. Johnny spots her ex Alice at a local cafe with a vague sense that she's been there before. Though she's still very angry about their breakup and Alice's subsequent ghosting, Johnny can't resist the draw of a second shot. After spending the night together, they face a morning in which Alice is still Alice, Johnny is still Johnny, but the dog is twice its size. Not really sure why. Over the course of a week, increasingly bizarre changes in the world around them force Johnny to consider whether the pair can change just as easily or if they can change at all. The narrative of I Can Fix Her operates on nightmare logic, putting forth an irresistible tale in which the world, the narrator, and time itself are not to be trusted. I always balk at a summary that tells me how I should read it or what I should think of it. I want to know what it's about. I kind of get what it's about in a way, but okay, it's good that we know it's about nightmare logic. On June 10th, we have The Flesh and Blood, a novel by N.L. Lavin and Hunter Burke. I've not heard of either of these authors, so if you have, let me know, because they seem very interesting. They're working as a team here. The cover has this lush and kind of delicious bayou scene. It's all in reds, dark reds, oranges, just beautiful. And they have these two big trees flanking the text in the center. Very eye-catching, very effective, big, large, white sans serif text. And there's a person kind of making their way through the swamp as a focal point, and it's just very effective. In 2008, a serial killer known as the Cajun Cannibal brutally murders and consumes the flesh of 8 people in a small Louisiana parish. With law enforcement closing in on him, he takes his own life before he can face the inside of a courtroom. 10 years later, when forensic psychiatrist Dr. Vincent Blackburn discovers that he and the Cajun Cannibal are more closely connected than he realized, he begins a case study into the sociopathy behind the killer's grisly deeds, only to find a torrent of small-town politics, interracial family dynamics, and whispers of the supernatural muddying once clear waters. My favorite. When copycat killings start anew, Vincent is thrust into the center of it all, putting his life, his family, and his own sanity at risk. As monsters, both figurative and literal, begin to manifest, Vincent discovers that untangling the truth from the lies is only the beginning of his nightmare. I am very interested in this book. I don't believe it's on the Patron Picks poll. A few of these are, the next book, but yeah, I think the next book is entirely on that list because of the cover. Just a little tiny aside, this book loft candle from Bath & Body Works, my husband picked it up as a little gift for me, and it smells amazing. At the risk of becoming a lifestyle channel, I will say it's worth a trip to check this out and see if it's for you. On June 17th, okay, it's on the list because of the cover and the title. On June 17th, we have Beyond the Planet of the Vampires by Ulrich Baer. The cover has a giant glinting steel knife with a blood-red, penis-shaped haft, or shaft if you prefer, held aloft in a striking motion, point-angled downward. This creates a pleasing angular layout with the most groovy, stylized black-letter green font I've ever seen in my life. I really love the cover of this. I don't care what the book's about at this point. I want to own this cover. Beyond the Planet of the Vampires is a gay pulp horror novel of chance. The narrative erratically loses and regains consciousness during an apocalyptic space invasion of psychic vampires reaching across intergalactic fathoms in search of future victims. I learned recently that a fathom is 6 feet. Smoldering in a social alienation reminiscent of Gennett's outlaw anti-heroes and screaming with Joycean wordplay, in an entirely new and unique idiom where theories of cant are situated with reckonings of identity and postulations on the nature of evil. None of that tells me what this book's about. It's about psychic vampires? Okay, I'm there. I'm definitely there. Penis knives? I mean, is that happening? Because I want to know. Other than that, that doesn't tell me anything. Joycean wordplay indeed. Ecstasy by Ivy Pachoda. I thought a chode was something to do with the previous novel's cover. Ecstasy by Ivy Pachoda. This cover looks like a Greek mythology textbook. It's got these like tertiary analogous color schemes in sort of like purple, blues, blacks, fuchsias. And I didn't know it was about the Greek islands before that. I just thought it looked like a Greek mythology textbook. So they're doing that part right. Has a woman's face and a snake separated by this like sans serif, Greek-inspired Art Deco sans serif font. And it's in yellow for the author's name and purple. So there's a lot of colors going on despite it being predominantly dark and black. I have no idea what it's about from the cover though. Lena wants her life back. Her wealthy, controlling, humorless husband has just died, and now she contends with her controlling, humorless son, Drew. Lena lands in Naxos with her best friend in tow for the unveiling of her son's pet project, the luxurious Agape Villas. Years of marriage amongst the wealthy elite has whittled Lena's spirit into rope and sinew, smothered by tasteful cocktail dresses and unending small talk. On Naxos, she yearns to rediscover her true nature, remember the exuberant dancer and party girl that she once was, but Drew tightens his grip, keeping her cloistered inside the hotel, demanding that she fall in line. Lena is intrigued by a group of women living in tents on the beach in front of the Agape. She can feel their drums at night, hear their seductive leader calling her to dance, and soon she'll find that an ancient god stirs on the beach, awakening dark desires of women across the island. The only questions left will whether Lena will join them and what it will cost her. There is the delicious and intriguing music of landscaping going on outside the window, so I hope it's not interrupting the sound too badly, because I believe there are whippersnipping rocks. On June 24th, we have 10 Sleep by Nicholas Billardis, and the cover's a little bit busy. It's this woman standing between these two rock faces of red sandstone, perhaps, and in front of her it's the starry sky that appear to be the eyes of creatures instead of stars, and a huge raven that is in the sky above her. It looks really cool. It's got a lot of text going on. There's a sans serif font for the instructional text, a big white sans serif font, like impact that's like distressed, and that looks pretty cool. Then a serif font for the author's name, and it's just one too many fonts with all three going on. A lot going on, but I like it. When Greta Molina's old friend Tiller offered her the job, a 10-day cattle drive across the Wyoming prairie from the ranching town of 10 Sleep, it sounded like a well-paid break. 320 cows and calves, 2 guys her age that she's known since college, and a few long days on an ATV to help her sort out the mess in her head. The canyon along this trail has a history, sure, but nature has a tendency toward violence, and Greta can accept that, even if it makes her insides squirm. What she doesn't know is the legacy of murder and rot that runs deep in the rocks of this land, and each night passes in the prairie, the trio face mounting supernatural dangers, a ghost train of the damned, wild animals walking alongside dead ones, and evidence of a gigantic creature in the skies, one that's supposedly been extinct for eons. And Tiller may be hiding even darker secrets the further they go. Safety is only 10 sleeps away, but Greta realizes that may be too long for all of them to survive. So interesting. And of course, No End House by Jeremy Bates. This is my kind of cover. It's just like a big close-up of a human skull in red with like white text, sans serif text. The author is in sans serif and serif font for the title. Just very plain, very text forward, very memento mori. I like it. This is also a book that I talked about in the previous video that I'll be reading as an e-arc for the middle of June. It's the ultimate haunted house challenge, a crumbling stone mansion nestled in the gothic quarter Barcelona. It may be the best kept secret in Europe, a little known attraction featuring 9 escape rooms to explore, 9 puzzles to solve, a large cash prize for anyone who makes it to the end. There's only one catch, that no one makes it to the end of No End House. When Joe Hadfield hears about the house from a pair of backpackers, he's intrigued but not interested. He's trying to escape a nightmare of his own, the trauma of witnessing his wife's grisly death. Traveling the world to ease his pain and grief, he meets a beautiful stranger named Helen, who convinces him to try the No End House challenge together. Joe reluctantly agrees, but as soon as they enter its walls, meet its mysterious host, and sign an ominous contract, Joe begins to understand the seductive power of No End House. It knows his darkest secrets, it feeds his greatest fears, it makes him do things that he would never do, and there is no end to what he will do to make it out alive. I've read the first 2 chapters, 3 chapters maybe of this, and I've met Helen, and I've understood what it is that he witnessed when it comes to his wife's death. It's written very, very well. So Jeremy Bates is a Canadian author. I've not read any of his other work. So if you've heard of him, read his work, and his book about the Japanese suicide forest, I really do want to read, because he travels the world a lot and obviously writes about those travels. So I'm very interested. If you're also reading No End House too, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, that is it. Not a lot of books. As I said, there's just not a lot of books out this month. Last month there was a lot more, and maybe in July we'll have a lot more. I didn't want to pad it with a bunch of cozy mysteries and stuff like that. So yeah, if there's anything on that list you're reading or plan to pick up, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out today, and have an ooky, spooky day.